Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome. I know it's been a while, but I want to say good morning from the beautiful islands of the Philippines. It's been raining pretty much all week, and it rains like the whole day. It's the rainy season, man. What do you expect, right? So, anyways, I want to welcome you. This is gonna be episode 22, which is covering for 3 weeks. I was out for about 3 weeks. Didn't do much flying, but I want to share with you some amazing news and some things that occurred. Some things that's in the pipeline on next week promises to be good, and so without further ado, let's get into it. And again, always subscribe to the channel, share the content, give a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and let me know where you're watching from and how you are being blessed by these videos and these reports. So, that being said, let's get straight into it. To start out, I want to announce the winner. I had asked the question. This is a giveaway, so you gotta pay attention to these videos. I have giveaways. It can be a mask, it can be a cookbook, it can be one of our musical CD. You just never know what it's gonna be. So I had asked the question on the last episode, who can tell me what year and month I received my pilot's license? The winner is Isaac Canard, is my bosom buddy there in the US. So Isaac Canard, stay tuned. I'm gonna get you a copy of the Missionary's Kitchen Cookbook. Right? So at the end of this video, I will tell you what the question is gonna be, and those who reply with the correct answer, you will enter into the grand draw, and you can win for yourself. It's either a cookbook, it can be a mask, it can be a shirt like this one. You never know. You just never know what the giveaway is gonna be. So you have to monitor these videos carefully so that you can win one of these freebies, right? As you know, the Washington Post shared my story, and they published it, and it was just amazing. What was written was like, usually when they write something, they'll ask you to proofread or maybe edit, etc. But when I read through it, I didn't want to change anything at all. It was just the way how I wanted it, just the way I shared my story with them, and I was really impressed with how they chronicled my story. Even the photos were telling you a story by itself. So that was a real blessing. I had to leave home for a while to go get some things done with like renewing my medical and so on. And this news came out like the day before, actually a few hours before I left home. This came out, so I had to leave home in the midst of rejoicing over it. This is what the newspaper hard copy looks like, and I was able to have a friend who took the time out to find a copy and send it to my cousin, who is gonna end up taking it to Jamaica for my mom. So that's what a copy of it looked like. And what's been happening is, ever since the Washington Post launched my story, there's this plethora of invitations from radio station, TV programs, people who have their personal vlog and website. Like there's a long list of interviews that I got as a result of individuals reaching out to me via they've read my story on Washington Post. When I got to my destination in the big city at the time, the patrol broke down, so I was stuck for about 3 days. A little bit before it broke down, the typhoon came through. I was at an area. I started experiencing high waters and possible flooding, heavy winds. The patrol was in an area that you had stuff that could blow on it, like loose zinc, and building that was not the most stable. So I had to relocate to another location, and I have some videos of it. I'm not gonna show you the videos, But I went, fortunately for me, I'm really happy that I had a Nissan Patrol because it's a high vehicle and I had water all the way up to my door, right? It was above the step, halfway up the door. I had water that high. So as I'm moving, there were many cars that basically they were not able to go through those waters. So when I got through about three of them, they were like crossing rivers. When I got through all three, I was really happy. I'm like, man, I want to hug this Nissan Patrol because it really came to my rescue when the typhoon came and I was in an area that was prone to flooding and I had to relocate. And I was really praying because if that thing shuts down, I'm gonna be in a very, very challenging situation because now if I open the door to get out, the patrol is gonna be flooded with water. So I was just driving through that high water, knowing I have to get to higher ground. And Kuya JR here, I left the patrol with him for about 3 days. He was working on it and he was able to get it fixed for me. Another individual, I didn't get a chance to take his photo, but I had to buy this part for it because it had something to do with my drive shaft was wobbling, so it gave this vibration, and then later on it would have fallen apart. So someone gave me the parts for free, and it only cost me like $10 to repair it. So it was just a blessing to have these guys in the big city who came to my rescue to help me get the patrol back. While I was stranded at home for 3 days, I'm like, man, what am I gonna do? This long list of interview requests came in, so I was preparing for that. I was doing some studying as well, so I had time. I didn't have much time to like get depressed or anything because I had stuff that I needed to prepare for. I woke up one morning and the Prime Minister of Jamaica actually, I don't know how he found my story, but he shared on his Facebook page. He shared this post. He shared my story from the Washington Post, and as you can see here, more than 1,000 people reacted to it. You had 180 comments and over 222 shares, and I read every single comment that was posted on that. Majority, like 99%, was very uplifting. Then you had little lady with some other perspective of different things. Then we're not gonna get into the details of her feedback, but it was just a blessing that the Prime Minister of Jamaica found my story. So I had multiple friends who saw it and they tagged me in their comments on that feed. So it was just a blessing to know that my story reached down to the Prime Minister of Jamaica. I got my medical renewed, which was a miracle by itself. We've heard a lot of things on the internet. People are saying because of the lockdown, they're not doing medical. You have to do online. I heard all of those things, but I stepped out by faith. As you know, it's flying by faith. It's a life of faith. I went down to the office by faith, not knowing what to expect. Just a little hint people gave me, and I was able to go through the rounds, and I finally got my Philippine medical renewed, which a little hassle as usual, but at the end of the day, I was able to get that renewed, which was a huge blessing. The first interview I got after the Washington Post story and the Prime Minister of Jamaica sharing my post, I mean, sharing the story on his Facebook page, also on his Twitter account. He tweeted it as well. I got a lot of private messages. One of them came from my friend here, Olive. She's a Jamaican that's in Japan working, and she has her YouTube channel and a little blog thing going. So she wanted to interview me. We did about 2 hours. So she's still editing our interview, hoping to publish it on her YouTube channel. It was a real blessing to talk with her. She wanted to get some perspective on my story itself, and that was a huge blessing for me. to be able to share with her via Zoom. Right after her interview, there was another one that came in, Magic 89, one of the most popular station here on the FM band, according to what I was told. Magic 89 is one of the most popular station listened to. They invited me, and I used to listen to them when I'm driving at nights, in the evenings, long trips. I used to just scroll through different channel, trying to learn a little Tagalog, and these guys speaking of English and Taglish. And when they messaged me, I was like 89. I'm like, man, I used to listen to that station, and even this program itself, I would listen to. Very interesting conversation and interviews they would have with people. So, anyways, they were able to interview me, and it was a huge blessing. I like I like the questions I was asked. Kuya, I think Tony is the DJ. He did his research on me, because I remember at one point he asked me, he said, yeah, you had that turning point moment of your life from that accident. Tell us about that. And I was like, this guy, because that's something I've shared in a YouTube video and also on my website years ago. So for him to find it, I think he spent quality time digging through the archives of my vlogs and stuff, and he was able to find that. And yeah, I was able to share my story with them on that channel, and it was a huge blessing for me. Thank you guys very much. After I got the patrol fixed, I was able to help Daniel and his wife. Daniel is the helicopter pilot for Philippines Adventist Medical Aviation Services over the Palawan project. So he went back to the US, he got married, and then he returned. And he needed my help to get to the airport with his things so that he could meet up with our director, and they flew down to Palawan project together. So that was a blessing. His usually whenever he travels, he and I get the privilege of meeting up with him, either dropping him off at the airport. He has this traditional weird thing where, as Filipinos, we call it pasalubong. I'm like, I'm not even Filipino. Anyway, I feel Filipino, okay? As Filipino, we give pasalubong, right? And so his pasalubong is usually this nice sourdough bread. Irene likes it, I like it, and it's always a blessing that he's able to keep that going. This was the airplane flown by our director, Dwayne Harris, and I've always wanted to go into Manila Airport. So they were gonna fly out of Manila Airport because he used the airplane to do some renewal, get some certification for it, etc. And he also did a supply run, a relief goods for those who are affected by the typhoon down in Virac. So while he did that, we, just basically, I brought Daniel to the airport, and I was just looking around, and there was a nice hangar there with a lot of expensive airplanes. So that was a blessing to finally get into Manila Airport itself. Another thing too, I thank you guys for the support. I had this missionary lady. She contacted me asking for a hammock. She wanted to purchase a hammock from our ministry efforts, and because the patrol was fixed, I was able to go deliver that hammock. So it was a blessing to drop that off while I was there. The next appointment I got, which was something that was scheduled long ago, I had forgotten about it. It's some young people in Malaysia. I think either 1 or 2 years, 2 years ago, I visited Malaysia, and I met some of those young people in person. I stayed where they were being trained to be missionaries. So one of them who even visited the Philippines, Irene to be exact, she scheduled me for an appointment to speak to the young people to inspire them. So this was the flyer that they put together. My title was "If You Don't Know, Ask Jesus," which is a presentation on my experience, looking at how Christ himself went through a lot of struggles, but in spite of that, my key text is Romans 8 verse 28, and I looked at Joseph and Job and then Jesus, at the fact that they went through a lot of challenging experience, but in the end, it did not sever their relationship with God. So if you don't know, ask Jesus. They usually take a screenshot. This was like the leadership of the group, and they had a dedicatory prayer for me at the end of the presentation. And then these are all the young people in their numbers, who just smiled at the camera, and they were really blessed. You could see their reaction. Some of them, they were just crying during the presentations and so on. So it was a huge blessing to use the internet to reach out to people, across the world. So I had the Japan one first, and then I had the one for Malaysia, then I had the Philippine radio program, and in addition to that, I had another interview, request. It's from the Aviation Club of Jamaica. These are pilots with years of experience, thousands of hours, student pilots, aspiring pilots, etc. So it was really a blessing for me because, both being born and raised in Jamaica, just seeing small airplanes from a distance and the big one as well when I would go venture out in Montego Bay and I could see the planes coming in to land in Norman, is that Sangster International Airport? Anyway, I don't remember, but Montego Bay, right? So, anyways, they invited me, but the challenge is 12:30 p.m. is actually 1:30 a.m. Saturday night for me in the Philippines. I'm 13 hours ahead of Jamaica. So here I am. I've done the one for Japan. I've done the one for Malaysia. And then next, I needed to do this one for Jamaica. And it was a little stretch. I had to go to bed a little earlier, wake up in the middle of the night, set up the camera, got everything together, and wiped the sleep out of my eyes. But the end result was they were really inspired by my story, why I got into aviation, how I got into aviation, and so on. And I did receive private messages from many of those who watched. I remember one dad said, I'm going to share this with my kids so that they can be inspired as well. At the end of the feed, I remember I was telling the host, Samuel, I said, Samuel, because Samuel and I, we've been on Facebook and Instagram now for a while. We've never met in person, but anyways, I remember I was telling him, I said, Samuel, I'm really glad to be interviewed by this Aviation Club of Jamaica, because if I ever go back to Jamaica, you guys gonna have to help me to take my mom up for a flight. That's actually one of the dream things I want to do, is I want to take my mom up for a flight so that she can experience flying. I know she's gonna be nervous, I know she's gonna freak out a little bit, but anyways, I really want to take her on a flight. So I had shared that with Samuel at the end of the interview, and then when we finished the feed, I got a private message from Instagram from one of those who were watching, telling me, hey, whenever you go back to Jamaica, I am willing to pay for the flight for you to take your mom up for that flight. I was like, wow. So already someone is saying, hey, you go to Jamaica, just let me know whatever that flight cost, I'm gonna pay for it. So that was just a huge blessing for me after that interview. Every now and then I do get donations from individuals. Some of them will have nice little message. I got one from my brother there in the US. When I say brother, I mean from my brother from another mother, but the same father. We're all Christians and brothers and sisters. He sent me a donation and he said, hey, buy some beans, get some protein. And I took this photo because he had sent me about $50 donation on my Venmo, and I went to the beans place and I bought like 10 kilos of garbanzos, about 6 kilos of black beans, and another 3 kilo or so on. Anyway, this is a lot of beans, and this will last me around maybe 5 to 6 months, basically. because it's just the two of us mainly. Now and then we'll have someone we can share it with. Um, but this will last me a long time, and I just took this photo and let him know, your donation might not be much, but when I use it wisely, it can give me supplies that last for a month. And I'm sharing this experience because, when I often share that I don't get paid, it's not from the perspective of I'm soliciting pity from individuals or my life is so depressing because I'm not paid and I'm working so hard kind of thing. It's more like I'm not financially compensated as a missionary pilot, but God where's my son? God provide the means, even if it's just beans, okay? So he provide, and I'm really happy for that. And talking about provision, another provision is this headset. I had shared it with you guys. I picked it up, and I didn't get to do much flying to test it, but finally, this is another miracle by itself. It's a huge blessing. It has an amazing story behind it. I have to be sharing these stories in my report because those who are on my YouTube channel, a number of them are not Facebook users. So for those who are on my Facebook and Instagram, you might have heard this story or read it already. But those who are on my YouTube channel, who are not social media individuals, I share it again for them. So this is a long story, but I'll summarize it real quick. Basically, someone got my address and decided to surprise me with this headset. Now, as a missionary pilot, not being paid, I don't have the budget to sit down and calculate a salary to say, okay, at the end of five, six paychecks, if I save this amount, I can afford this headset. It's 850 US dollars. Then to ship it cost, I remember, like $75 on one part, another 50 something, and then another 50 something. So to get this to me in the Philippines was a little over 1,000 US dollars. You're talking about 48,000 pesos just to get me this headset. Right? When I contacted the donor to figure out what's the story behind it, I was like blown away by the story. Basically, he's affiliated with Mission Aviation Fellowship. He loves ministry in aviation itself. He's a Christian himself, and yeah, he was just impressed. He's like, I think this is what you need. So he got it for me, and it has a Bluetooth connection to it, so I can plug in my phone, make a phone call, and still focus on flying the airplane, etc. So I was having an excruciating headache because of wearing a face mask. Then I'm wearing my shades, and then my headset was tight without these things. So when the COVID pandemic developed in the Philippines, and we have these requirements, I started, after, especially long missions like 5-6 hours of flying, I come home and I have this real terrible headache because the headset is squeezing against the mask and against the sunglasses itself. It was unbearable, and I've just been praying. So this headset now, I can wear my mask, face shield, mask, sun glasses or shades along with my headset, and I don't have that excruciating headache anymore. Not only that, I had issues with getting the audio from my headset into my camera. Now with this headset, it has toned down that noise level so well that this week when I did a mission, I was able to get the audio. So you guys got to go to my YouTube channel, go to my Facebook page. You can check out that video. And what I plan to do is I can interact with you guys a little bit more while flying and share more with you, like the missions, what's happening, who am I helping today, what stories, etc. Different things, basically. So that's a huge blessing. This week, I was able to do one mission to help a lady. I'll tell you about her. But this is my buddy here, Cap Amir. When we go out flying, he flies commercially. I'm a missionary pilot. But as pilots, we fly airplanes and we have that in common. And we look out for each other. Sometimes we navigate weather together, we deal with winds together. And due to the dynamics of the Philippines, where we go does not have a tower, the experience from the other pilot is really helpful for you. So if they go in ahead of you, it's really nice when they can tell you, hey Cap, this altitude, expect this kind of winds. Hey Cap, the cloud layers like this. Hey, so, you really depend on what's happening ahead of you. If there's another pilot flying, or if you're the one leading, you can report back to them. So we really look out for each other as we navigate to get the various missions done, whether it be him commercially and that's his job, or for me as a missionary pilot and that's ministry for me. The mission that I had to help with, the first one was I transported around 12 or 14. It was about 13 printers. 13 printers and some various other office supplies and fruits. So I did a cargo run first, and then on my way back, I picked up this pregnant lady. She's 8 months pregnant, and she needs help to get out of where she's at so that both her and the baby can be safe and in good condition to have better health care. So it was a huge blessing. However, the winds were very strong. Like when I was doing the cargo run, I remember the lady that I transported, she had some Christmas tree made from metal, very like sharp metal, very long. And I remember I told her, I said, ma'am, I'm sorry, but you cannot transport that on the airplane because I'm anticipating we're gonna have some strong turbulence and things in the airplane can get shifted around, and the last thing I want is some metal to poke me in the back of my neck or yours and maybe kill us. We don't know, right? But worst case scenario, it's dangerous cargo. So I told her, you can't. I told her that. And then we went out. I'm flying when I was about 50 nautical miles away from landing, which is like about less than 10 minutes away from landing. We hit this surge of turbulence that if we were not wearing our seatbelts, our head would have knocked the roof. I'm not kidding you. I've never experienced like that before. But basically, imagine flying along and someone just pick you up and drop you like that. My seatbelt gripped my waist and kept me firmly secured in my seat. The same thing happened to her too. Like she went, and it's like, whoa. And yeah, it was nerve wracking. You're just sitting there and I told my other buddy behind me, Cap Amir, who was behind me about 5-10 minutes. I said, Cap, you better wear your seatbelt because what I just went through, had I not been wearing my seatbelt and shoulder harness, my head would have hit the roof. Okay, so when I picked up this pregnant lady, I told her, I said, hey, expect turbulence en route. With the cargo run, we got picked up just once, but with the pregnant lady returning, dropping her off, we got picked up around 3 to 5 times. It was like, and then, okay, we recovered a little bit, and I'll be honest with you guys. It was something to experience. I don't know where those winds came from, but all I know is fortunately I anticipated it, so I make sure the airplane was within maneuvering speed, a speed that you can navigate and be tossed around and not break your wings off or break something. So I was prepared for that. So when I got picked up and pick up multiple times, I was just praying and hoping, okay, no matter what we go through, please don't give birth. She's 8 months and I don't want her to pop prematurely because those winds were really strong a lot. But at the end of the day, I got the mission done. I came home, I parked the airplane, and that was the only flight I did this week. Only 2 missions this week. to help the pregnant lady and that cargo run. The next day, there were other requests, and I'll tell you a little about that at the end. Basically, we it's my wife's birthday, so the tradition for us is we're missionaries. We depend on donations to survive. So I never feel compelled to take those precious donations and go satisfy myself, maybe a nice hotel, a nice, but what I've never feel the burden of that. So we fundraise a lot, and we don't want to paint the wrong picture to people who are donating to us. And sometimes I have donors who will tell me, take your wife out, here's some money, get her whatever, hey, go out, da 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 da. And I mean, I appreciate those gestures, and I take it and I get her something as they ask me to do. But what we decide to do as a missionary couple is we become creative, which takes a lot less money. So we a couple years ago we decided, hey, we don't have much. In those times we don't have much. So what we would do is on my birthday, she would treat me to all three meals, and I would just live this life like a king. I stay at home, I just relax, and she prepares whatever I request. She'll prepare it. When it's her birthday now, I do the same thing. So I don't do any flights. I don't leave the house, and we dine in. We make the table look nice. Like we turn our home in its own fancy restaurant. So I asked her, "What do you want for breakfast?" She said she wants green banana porridge. For Filipinos, they call it lugaw. A very interesting dish. It's something that we prepare in Jamaica. When we just got married, I used to cook that a whole lot. But then after a while, I stopped because when I make Jamaican food, I get homesick and I have to deal with just missing home. So I try to stay away from Jamaican food as I can because I haven't been to Jamaica in over 4 years, right? So anyway, I made her the banana porridge as she requested. She enjoyed that for breakfast. Then for lunch, she had the nerve, guys, to ask me for lasagna. No, here's the thing. I used to make lasagna when I was working in the student cafe doing missionary training in the US with my boss who knows what he's doing. I've never made lasagna by myself. She has made lasagna multiple times. I've never made lasagna. So, you know me, pressure is on because, like, okay, I tell the whole world I taught my wife how to cook. No, she wants lasagna. I'm like, okay, let me get my apron on. Let's do this. And honestly, I'm not exaggerating, okay? When I tasted that tofu based vegan lasagna with vegan cheese on top, I was like, I wanted to OD, but I know better. I didn't OD on the thing. But it was really good. I shared it with the other missionaries, and they licked that spoon. They're like, man, this stuff is good. So it was a huge blessing, right? So I survived breakfast, I survived lunch. Next, okay, by the way, yeah, that's what it looks like. And I hope you're not hungry looking at these photos because you'll be in trouble. Then the next thing she requested was she wants cheesecake. This is the traditional birthday cake that she always wants. It's gonna be vegan. We have the ingredients here. I've never made it in the Philippines. I've made it in the US, but I've never made it in the Philippines. And I was a little rusty. I haven't made this thing in like 2 years. So I'm like, okay, it's been 2 years since I've made it. And people are asking me for the recipe. And let me be honest with you guys. I did not use a recipe. Can I ask my wife? And I did not use a recipe. I cook off experience. I read a bunch of other recipes to refresh myself about the dynamics of it, and then I went into the kitchen and I configured my own thing. When we dived into this thing that night, whew, it was, I mean, I shared it with the other missionaries and they were just blown away. It was just awesome with how the vegan cheesecake turned out. So I don't have the recipe, but I can tell you guys how I made it. Not right now, but one of those days, right? So I survived. I treated her for her birthday, and that was a huge blessing for both of us. I reached out to someone who sent me a request to, they want something. I'm giving away these free masks to some of my pilot friends. So he requested one, and then he said, "Hey, I want to give a donation to your ministry." And what I do is when people reach out to me and they want to donate, I will do a little research on them. I'll go to their Facebook page and I kind of stalk them to get an idea who they are, the dynamics of their family, etc. And if I can get a story of why they want to donate, I'll get the story as well. So I'm like a detective. Who are my donors? What is their family setup like, etc. And then I reach out to them. So anyway, Adam reached out to me, and I noticed his Facebook page has this really nice camera. And then I was watching some of the videos. I realized he's a videographer or something like that. Yeah. So I'm stalking through his Facebook and I see this. I'm like, whoa, his quality is really good. So I was telling Irene, I said, Irene, you think he would be willing to help us with some of our videos and stuff? And I'm like, I'm hesitant, I'm shy. So anyway, I called him up. I messaged him and I say, hey, you want to take a call? He's like, yeah, I'll take a call. And then I said, hey, I was thinking, is it possible that you could help me with some of my videos? And he's like, it's interesting you would ask me because I saw the amazing work you're doing. And you know what? This is what I do professionally. This is my job. I would love to help you with your videos for free. I was just blown away. I was like, he's like, yeah, I was thinking about it, and you asking me, I'm willing to do it. So I've sent him some files already, and he's now working, and he's like, I'm excited. I can't wait to help you. So Adam, this is what he does. And if you need videos, I'm throwing a free ads out there. You want to find a photographer or a videographer back in the States or wherever you are in the world, you can check out his stuff. I think I forgot he had told me what his the thing is, hashtag something. Oh man, I forgot. Anyways, I'll put a link to his stuff in the description bar, and you can follow that. So whenever there's a video made and it's really high quality, Adam is the man, right? He's the guy that's doing it. So I want to tell him, thank you so much, Adam. I appreciate it, and I hope that I know, not hope, but I know that God is going to bless his work efforts for his willingness to help me in return. And we were talking, this was a chat we did, and I took a screenshot. 15 minutes we were chit chatting and so on. So that's a huge blessing. Again, if you like what we do and you want to continue to support us, for those who are supporting us, I have a surprise for you guys. I'm actually in the process now of putting together a little thank you package to all my donors. So all my donors, you know yourself, I have your email address. Some of you, I have your mailing address already. So just look out for that. I'm hoping it will get to you by Christmas, if not by New Year's. Please bear with me. Things are really slow in the Philippines to ship things off. So I gotta be navigating my way around. But those who have been supporting me over the years, I'm gonna take the time out to reach out to you. We already have the items that we want to send to you, to let you know we appreciate your donation and your prayers and your support. So look out for that. If you want to continue, for those who have not yet supported and you are impressed with support, you can go over to my website, By His Stripes Ministries 1844.com. You can specify where you want your donations to go, or you can make it general. It's up to you. Without your help, without your prayers, this ministry would not have been the same. My missionary pilot journey would not have been the same. So when I do these reports, it's not to praise and elevate self. It is to let you, my donors, know where your donation goes each week, each month. It's to let you know, who are praying for me, some of the ways that God has been answering your prayers. And I also want to inspire inspire other individuals out there. Whether you are in ministry already or you're thinking about it, this is an opportunity for you to have an idea what ministry can be like in terms of helping other individuals. Some lineups coming up. Tomorrow morning about 5 a.m. my time, well, 6 a.m. my time, I'm going to be doing an interview on Zoom for some young people back in Jamaica. Their pastor contacted me and he wants me to just share some mission experience to inspire the young people. The TV station that they are broadcasting over 100 different countries, the proposal went in. I got a message from them, I think Sir Barnaby, and he's coming next week. So the TV station is coming next week. I told them the weather is very challenging, so on days when there's no mission and we can't fly due to weather, come prepared to do some ground shooting, interview, etc. So he's prepared for that. I'm excited for that because my story is gonna go out again to over 100 different countries in a TV format. So this is not an article, this is a video format. So that's a huge blessing coming up. There are two missions that's pending, and I solicit your prayers on it. The first one is a 57 years old gentleman. He's having some heart problems. He needs to go to Manila for some heart. I don't know if it's gonna be a surgery or what they're gonna do, but that request came in. But because he's a senior, or older gentleman, there's a lot of paperwork involved. So far they've been doing paperwork now almost the whole week. The request came in, and we're yet to do the flight because of what needs to be done. The last thing they're waiting on right now is a swab test. So I'm just soliciting your prayers that he can be basically, to have a heart condition and being delayed because of COVID requirements is not easy. So I've been dialoguing with the family through Messenger, asking them how is he doing. Sometimes there's pain and he has an unstable angina. So I'm just praying that he will not succumb to his illness because of this paperwork delay because of COVID. There's another request. It's a pretty sad one. There's another senior gentleman who is basically cancer, I think stage 4, and he wants to go back home and die. They're doing paperwork as well, so we pray that they'll get those paperworks done. It's gonna be a sad day. It's the long trip over the waters going up to a little place called Batanes. That's where I'm gonna be dropping him off. So those are the two missions that is pending for possibly this new upcoming week. Those are the two missions that's coming up. So again, I just want to say thank you guys. Be safe out there. There's much more happening, but that's all I want to share with you for now. God bless. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your prayers and your support. And I'm excited to share with you episode 23. And for those, one more thing, for those who are following the series about the parable of the airplane, I've covered 4 parts. I'm gonna be doing part 5, which is the last one, in the next couple of minutes. Gotta change and switch to another gear and just share the application portion of aerodynamics and the cross. Please stay tuned for that. When you go over to my website, it's going to ask you if you want to sign up to receive our monthly newsletter. Please sign up so monthly you can see where your prayers and where your donation goes. Other exciting news coming up next week by God's grace. Until then, stay warm, stay faithful, be committed to God, and may God bless you and your family during these tough times. Mabuhay from the Philippines, and talk to you soon.